There's a kind of tiredness that doesn't make sense. You didn't run a marathon. You didn't work 12 hours straight. You didn't do anything particularly difficult, and yet, you feel drained, not sleepy, not physically exhausted. Just empty. Heavy. And confused about why. Most people grow up believing one simple rule: tiredness comes from effort. If you're exhausted, you must be doing too much. If you rest enough, energy should come back. But what if the problem isn't what you're doing, but what you're carrying? The exhaustion no one taught you to recognize here, a type of fatigue that doesn't come from action. It comes from constant internal tension. From being alert all the time, from monitoring yourself, from thinking ahead, from replaying conversations, from anticipating problems that haven't happened yet. Your body might be still, but your nervous system is working overtime, and it doesn't know how to stop. In psychology, this is often connected to chronic stress and nervous system dysregulation. When the body stays in survival mode for too long, rest stops feeling restorative. You can lie in bed for hours and still wake up tired, because rest isn't just the absence of movement, it's the absence of threat. Survival mode doesn't turn off by itself. A nervous system in survival mode is always scanning, even in silence, even in safety, even at home. It asks questions like, what's next? What could go wrong? What am I forgetting? What will be expected of me? This is why doing nothing can feel uncomfortable, why silence feels loud, why scrolling feels easier than resting. Your brain isn't looking for stimulation, it's looking for distance. Distance from thoughts, distance from feelings, distance from yourself. So you consume content, noise, information, not because you enjoy it, but because it keeps you occupied enough to not feel what's underneath. Why? Simple things feel so hard. This is the part people judge themselves for the most. Why can't I do such basic things? Why does everything feel heavy? Why do I need so much effort just to start? When the nervous system is overloaded, initiation becomes expensive. Starting something means engaging, processing, making decisions, being present. And presence costs energy you don't have. So the system chooses conservation. Not laziness, not weakness. Conservation. From the outside, it looks like procrastination. From the inside, it feels like being stuck behind glass. You can see what needs to be done. You just can't reach it. The myth of just rest more. This is where most advice fails. Take a break. Relax. Do nothing for a while. But if your nervous system doesn't feel safe, rest becomes threatening, because when you stop moving, everything you've been holding back gets louder. Thoughts, memories, unprocessed emotions, internal pressure. So you don't rest. You freeze. You lie down, but your body stays tense. You sleep, but you don't recover. You take time off, but nothing changes. That's not because rest doesn't work. It's because your system doesn't know how to receive it. This isn't burnout the way people describe it. Burnout is often portrayed as work too hard gives collapse, gives recovered. But many people never get to the collapse phase. They stay functional. They show up. They survive. And that's what exhausts them the most. Because holding yourself together takes more energy than falling apart. You're not burned out because you failed. You're burned out because you didn't. Why motivation doesn't fix this? People try to solve this exhaustion with motivation. New routines, new goals, new pressure. But motivation requires capacity, and capacity requires safety. If your nervous system is already overloaded, pushing yourself only confirms one message: rest is not allowed. So the system resists even more. That's why motivation disappears. That's why discipline feels violent. That's why even things you used to love feel distant. Your system isn't broken. It's protective. What actually helps, and what doesn't help. Forcing productivity, shaming yourself, comparing your pace to others, waiting for a sudden return of energy. What helps? Slowly, reducing internal pressure, creating moments with no expectation, doing things without optimizing them, allowing unfinishedness, choosing safety over performance. Recovery doesn't begin with action. It begins with permission. Permission to slow down without explanation. Permission to exist without producing. Permission to not be ready yet, the exhaustion, is not the enemy. This kind of tiredness is often misunderstood. But it's not your enemy. It's a signal that you've been carrying more than your system can process, a signal that rest needs to feel safe again, not earned, because sometimes the most exhausting thing isn't doing too much. It's staying alert for too long in a world that never really lets you exhale.